Welcome back to SoundersFC.com. Hi again, everyone. Tony Ventrella. Very exciting day for me and all of Sounders FC fans as we welcome Ross Fletcher, our new play-by-play man, to Seattle, to the Pacific Northwest, to the U.S., and to the Sounders family. Welcome, Ross.
Tony, thanks very much. First of all, absolutely fantastic to be here. Been made to feel really welcome as well, so couldn't have asked for better.
Now, your name is Ross Fletcher, so I've got to get this question out of the way right off the bat. The people call you Fletch.
They do? Yeah, it's the obvious nickname. I think Chevy Chase has probably made sure of that for me. So Fletcher's great. We can start on the right track.
All right, outstanding. And I know you at one point were given a jersey with Fletch on the back.
That's right. Lovely leaving present by one of my friends. We had a big leaving do a couple of weeks ago, and completely out of the blue, there comes this package. What's this? All of a sudden. Old jersey, Fletch, #1. Thanks very much. He's already checked to make sure I put it in my luggage. It's going to take pride of place in the office.
That's cool. Let me ask you, let's go back a little bit. We were talking earlier about the beginning of your broadcast career. You started young. You were 16. Now tell me how that whole thing, you didn't just walk into a radio station over in England, did you? What happened?
Not quite. I got the bug for broadcasting probably when I was about 12, 13. I'd always watch games of soccer on the TV, but turn the sound down and commentate in my head. And I thought, I might be all right at this.
That's good.
And then there was a competition on national radio for Find a Star for soccer commentary. I thought, I'll put in an old cassette tape, as they were in those days, at the age of 14, 5 minutes of squeaky voice commentary. And I got a runners-up baseball cap, and that really ignited my passion for it. And from then on, I thought, how can I get into broadcast? So I knocked on the door of my local radio station at the BBC back home, and they said, come in for 3 weeks on a Saturday, see what we do. Pretty much never left from there. That's
pretty cool. That's cool. Here in America, they call that an internship, you know, with no pay. But you know, it's good though, because that is how you learn, and you obviously you stuck, so it worked out. First play-by-play experience then, as a professional, was when?
Age of 22, which in the UK is pretty young, and as
it is,
learning in the US is even younger, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And there was a big responsibility for me there at, again, the local station where I'd started, BBC Radio Derby, to take over from a guy who'd been doing it for 26 years, who was a legend. He was the doyen of football commentary and had the most magnificent turn of phrase. And he was hugely respected. And the styles were very different from the gravitas that he brought to me being fresh and young, and a little bit different to him, to say the least. It was a baptism of fire to some extent, but I had that passion, that energy and that enthusiasm, and I think it brought me to where I am today. And 7 years doing that role for BBC Radio Derby, moving on to national, and then here I am today.
No, there's no doubt that and that is difficult. It's difficult to follow, especially a 26-year legend like that. The new guy comes in, you know, although you got to have that confidence and you got to stick with it. You know, at some point some people are comparing you, but then there is that moment then when you're kind of over the hump and you're going, okay, I'm feeling more comfortable here. People are beginning to accept me. I suppose there's that moment, isn't there?
Yeah, I think for me, because I started so young and didn't have anywhere near the experience of my predecessor, that it took probably 3 seasons to feel absolutely comfortable in the role, to think, yeah, I own this now, that the ghost of the former commentator has finally moved on. The fans have got used to me. They've got used to my style. But for me, it was really important that when I went into the role, I was me, that I was calling the game as Ross Fletcher and not trying to step into the shoes of the previous guy. And that did come across, I think. And when I eventually left there, people were saying, it's a real shame that you're going, because we love your style.
Well, that's really cool. And I know that former colleague Arlo White now moves on to the network here in the U.S. A great opportunity for him and for the network as well. You guys know each other. You've worked together. And did you find out about this opportunity through Arlo, or was it sort of a connection there that helped, or no?
Yeah, it was the connection with Arlo. He pretty much has blazed a trail for UK broadcasters to come over to the MLS and see what it's all about and really get involved in the passion and, you know, the growth that MLS is experiencing. And it took me back to 2010, I think, when he was just announced, if I remember rightly. And I was working in Vancouver at the Winter Olympics, and of course Vancouver were starting up a team in the year after. So they got moving, and Arlo really sparked something in my mind, and I thought, this might be a great opportunity for me. Spoke to them a little bit about possible opportunities, nothing came of that. But since then, I've been following the progress of Arlo, and then when, of course, he was moving on to the NBC gig, and he said, look, there might be something here if you're interested. So
that's great.
Jumped at the chance.
And then on the personal side, you get married September 3rd of 2011 to Katie.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, here's this opportunity, but now you're married, so your wife, of course, has to have at least 50%, and some say 60 to 70% of the say.
Keep it going.
And obviously, she's on board with this move.
She is just hugely, hugely excited about it. She's a bit of a world traveller like I am as well, and a massive driving force in the move over here. If she'd said, I don't really fancy the idea of moving halfway across the world, having only been married for 3 months, then I would have fully respected that. But she said this is a brilliant opportunity.
Yes.
She spent a lot of time in the US as well, with her family coming over here. I think she was in Seattle when she was 12 as well, and was captivated at an early age by all that the Pacific Northwest has to offer. So she is just as much on board and just as excited as I am. And we do come as a team, and that is a massive backup to me, knowing that I've got the support, friends and family, and most importantly, my wife.
And your wife, Katie, again, is in the broadcasting business as well.
Yeah, she's in the BBC. Yeah. She's a news producer, but she's got a massive passion for sports as well. And occasionally she'll throw out stats that even I wasn't aware of. So if ever the stats man leaves, then we've got a ready-made replacement.
What do you think the key is, Ross, to calling, whether it's soccer or in this case it is soccer, calling soccer play-by-play on television or radio? What are you trying to bring? What do you bring to the party when it comes to that? I mean, I know that some guys are big on statistics, others are big on backgrounds of the players, but there's much more to it than that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's really telling the tale, and for radio, it's all about, for me, painting the picture and trying to push out that emotion of the game, because the narrative in soccer changes minute by minute. Yeah. And for me, that's the really exciting challenge about it, that you can adapt to what's going on the field and bring the human element to it. Statistics are a big part. Of course, the score is the most important part. But there are so many subplots around that. And I think that's the great challenge. And that's what I love about calling a game, that you can bring that all together and tie it all together. Passion, enthusiasm, and of course a little bit of backstory, a little bit of knowledge about the game always helps. But if you can bring a game to life through the human, I think you're more than halfway there, shall we say.
I think that's the key, and people they do have fans in the broadcasting business because of that emotion and that emotional connection. That's why they like the team and the players. If they just listen to stats all day, they could take their iPad to the game with them or their phone and get the stats. So it is way more than stats. Now you will have the opportunity, or I should say Casey will have the opportunity to work with you. You know, a legend in the soccer business here in America and of course overseas as well. Casey Keller works with you in the booth. That's going to be fun for you. How do you define those roles? Is it just a matter of kind of getting to know each other and moving forward from there, or what?
I think so. I think it's one of those things, the relationship that will probably grow organically. Of course, I know Casey from his time back in the EPL in the UK with Leicester City as well. So in terms of his career, I know all about him. People say he can talk a little bit as well. So I'm sure we'll work something out from there. What he brings is just a huge knowledge of the game. I don't need to tell Sounders fans that he has a tremendous cachet, both over in the UK and of course being a native of Washington. So everybody knows him. He has a fantastic insight. He has the knowledge of the 3 seasons of MLS that I don't. He intimately knows the dressing room, so he can really bring out those little bits of character that maybe I don't know yet about the individual player, about some of the backstory, which of course I'm filling up. My expertise will be calling the game, hopefully bringing that passion, that excitement, bringing that layer of context, in case he can really be on the icing on the cake, and he can, you know, as I say, tune into that as well. We'll have a bit of rapport, hopefully see that grow, and it should be a really exciting combination. I'm really, really pleased to get the opportunity to work with somebody as well known as Casey is and as respected as he is.
That's neat. Your enthusiasm for the Pacific Northwest, I know you may not have as much time to get out and see sights here once that season starts, of course, because the play-by-play schedule is a healthy one. Let's put it that way. And you're looking forward to it, I'm sure. But is there anything you're curious about in the area that you want to see or want to try to explore, or will you wait till Katie gets here to do it, or how's that going to work?
Yeah, there's just so much that we can explore that where do I start, really?
Yeah,
Everyone says it's an English climate, but I think your summers are going to be great for getting out on the water, and that's something that's just magnificent about the Pacific Northwest. Everywhere you look, particularly Seattle itself, you're surrounded by water, so the opportunities to have a very chilled out life will be great. Then up in the mountains, I love to ski as well.
Oh,
so
good. Plenty of that here.
In season, I'm told, yeah, it's not too far to get to the mountains.
No,
And just the culture as well of the place, that I've always been told Seattle has a real buzz about it.
Yeah.
And everything I've seen in the first couple of weeks of being here just says that as well. So I can't really say there's one specific thing,
Right.
because there are so many great things to look forward to. So give it time, try not to do it all at once, and just gradually get infused by everything that Seattle and the greater area has to offer.
Well, that's outstanding. I know the fans are going to be in for a treat. I can say that on radio and television, also on the website when we maybe, hopefully, more than occasionally get you on SoundersFC.com with some of your wonderful feature ideas, and you got a million of them. So we'll lay those out during the season.
Rain it in already, yeah.
And no, we never rain it in. We just let it go, you know. And I'm looking so forward to working with you, and I know the fans are going to love you, the ones that don't already know you. So best of luck here. Have fun. Let's go get a championship, another U.S. Open Cup, and maybe an MLS this year, and let's have fun doing it.
Absolutely. Should be a fantastic season. It's going to be great to be with you and to reach out to all the Sounders fans. Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Ross. That's our 1v1 with Russ Fletcher. Fletch number 1. I'm Tony Ventrella on SoundersFC.com.